Thank you for attending the second of our 2023 Winter Porch Talk series. And today we have a special guest, my friend, Connie Mason. My name's Pam, I work for the museum. But Connie's list of accomplishments are so long, I can't even begin to list them. But with the latest one, she's getting ready to be honored by the Outer Banks Playhouse Society.
That's right. Yeah, I'm getting
this weekend or
next month.
Weekend?
Next month.
Next month. So let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Pam. Well, I appreciate that. I am Connie Mason, like the Southern tradition of the mason jar, and the mason jar, we can a lot of things, to put them away for this time of year, winter. When you open that jar and you can smell the figs or the whatever you canned, and it just makes you feel like summertime. Well, sometimes, they put a clear liquid libation in those mason jars. And when you take a sip of that, you see the sunshine too. And as your brain cells are going. But anyway, I'm a lot like my namesake in the fact that I'm stout with a wide mouth and love to preserve food on my hips. So that's okay. I'll stick that right there. But anyway, as you get older, it's harder and harder to give your parents gifts because they end up giving it back to you because they're downsizing. And so what I did is I interviewed my dad. Now, he was from Stacy, North Carolina. And so some of you might not know where Stacy is, but it's between Cedar Island and Beaufort, on Highway 70. And it's in an area that we call Down East. Now, I took a mental poll. Half of you know the stories and half of you don't. So I'm for you that know some of these stories, be patient. We're going to bring these other folks up to speed. So Stacy, is a small community, but I don't like to call it small. I like to call it quaint.
Yes.
And so I wrote this song about Stacy, my daddy's hometown, and Daddy was thrilled, because it was a gift he didn't have to put anywhere. And he's told me in his dry down east sense of humor, he says, Connie, it takes you longer to sing that song than it does to go through Stacy at 35 miles an hour. Now, I put the communities of down east in this song too, and then you recorded it and everything, had it on CD, and somebody called to my attention that I missed a community. So this is the test for you, to listen to the song and then tell me at the end of the song which community I left out. Okay?
I'll be listening.
Okay. Well, it's a test. Stacy doesn't have a Macy's, Starbucks or a stoplight, hope it never will. But she's got what can't be told or bought, the finest folks that ever walked or set a sail. She's got Pittmans, Robinsons and Dixons, Hamiltons and Fulchers, and some Salters too. Oh, with Masons, starring Gaskell Willises, and for goodly measure a Dinbatter or two. She's got Nelsons and a lot of Lewises, the finest kind of people, hope you get to know. It's Stacy, pretty little Stacy, quiet tiny Stacy, my daddy's hometown. Cross Mariah Creek, then right on to Horseshoe Street, eastward to Piney Pine, what a lovely sight. Oh, great day looking out at Britt's Bay, smelling all the salt spray, everything's alright. Well, back around, going north to downtown, past the church in Bloodfield, and then through the swamp. You find Mason Town, my father's family sacred ground, looking over Core Sound, where it all began. And the people, the finest kind of people, greatest kind of people, I hope you get to know. In Stacy, pretty little Stacy, quiet, tiny Stacy, my daddy's hometown. Here's the part where the test comes in, ready? Down each strung like little shining pearls, founded on marsh mud, hummocks, and white sand. Oh, each place pretty as old lace, fashioned by our makers, strong on knowing hands. They made Atlantic, sea level, Cedar Island, hunting quarter straits, poor banks and Smyrna too. Oh, he made Otway, Betty, Marshall, Berg, Gloucester, Davis, Shore, Williston, Harkers Island too. And the people, the finest kind of people, greatest kind of people, I hope you get to know. Oh, like in Stacy, pretty little Stacy, quiet, tiny Stacy, my daddy's hometown. Stacy, my daddy's hometown.
Tusk.
Yes, Tusk.
Now, I did not hear Gloucester or Straits.
I did Straits, and I did Gloucester.
Okay.
Betty. Where? Williston?
Yeah.
Atlantic, Sea Level, Cedar Island, Honey Quarter, Straits, Core Banks, and Smyrna too.
Okay.
Davis Shore, Williston, Harkers Island. But Tusk, and I've tried my best to figure out how to put that in there, and I just can't.
A lot of people are still trying to figure out exactly where it is.
Yeah, well, there's differing opinions too. The differing opinions. You know, in North Carolina, we have a history and heritage of murder ballads. Not something we're proud of, but we do have some rather famous ones. For example, Poor Ellen Smith, Naomi Wise, Nellie Cropsey, and the most famous one, Laura Foster. And you know that song.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Poor boy, you're bound to die. Yeah. There's her light. Something, yeah, I did. But we have a Carteret County murder.
I belong to a singing group up in the
All right.
part of the heart.
All right. Well, I got a singing crowd now. Now that I know that, you're in trouble.
I love to sing off key.
Oh, well, Red Daniels from Otway. Well, he lived in Otway, but he was from Cedar Island. He was a local musician who played dobro. Now, dobro was a resonator guitar, like a Hawaiian sound, and he became friends with a retiree that moved down to Cedar Island. Okay. And he came from the mountains, which we have some mountain folks here, and he named his home place on Cedar Island Eureka, which means I found it, okay? Well, he was been there a couple of years, and he came home one night, and somebody had, burglars had come in and shot him dead. Well, and his name was Mr. Palmer. I hope nobody knew him. You know, when I was putting this program, by the way, is called Songs and Reflections of Home, Special People and Sacred Places. Well, when I put this program together, it was 4 hours long. And because there's a lot of special people, and there's, you know, a lot of songs, and a lot of songs I'm going to write, you know, because I love to write songs about people and places and things, you know. And I guess I'm a ballad person, you know, and I love to tell stories. But let's see, I got off the track there. So he went to the funeral, which they scattered his ashes, Mr. Palmer's ashes, on Cedar Island Bay. Okay, and since Red was a musician, he came home and he went to sleep. He woke up in the middle of the night and wrote this song in about a space of about 10 minutes. And it's more than a murder ballad. It is a love letter to living on and loving the water. So it's called Eureka, I Found It. have all my friends gathered, passed round the bottle in my memory. Then spread my burnt ashes out on the water to be with the fishes alone in the sea. Eureka, I found it, look at that water. I'll never leave this place on Cedar Island Bay. But early one evening they passed round the bottle, his ashes went floating away. I'll always remember the first time I met him, a smiling retiree with cotton white hair. He come from the mountains, was building Eureka. He come to go fishing, breathe the salt air. He'd always seemed happiest at John Day's bridge of fishing. The life of the party, he was everyone's friend. One day the Grim Reaper sent an intruder with 7 quick bullets. His life came an end. Eureka, I found it, look at that water. I'll never leave this place on Cedar Island Bay. But early one evening they passed round the bottle, his ashes went floating away. Oh, buddy, will none of us ever forget you when we're at Jack's place having a few. We'll raise up our glasses, drinking fond memory of all the good times we last had with you. Eureka, I found it, look at that water. I'll never leave this place, forever I'll stay. But early one evening they passed round the bottle, his ashes went floating away. And they'll be there forever on Cedar Island Bay. Mr. Red Daniels. Red played music with me and Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott was a fiddle player, and we'll talk about him later. But I was part of the National Park Service, and we had in the summertime music programs on the boardwalk in Beaufort, and sometimes 200-300 people. I mean, we would block the roads, and it was a good time had by all, and it was a wonderful experience for me. So that was Red, but Red, his funeral was Sunday. He just died, and but what a lovely family, and it was a lovely legacy. But they didn't mention this song. They mentioned every other song, and I was thinking, I want to stand up and say, but anyway, it's on the CD, so hopefully they've got that. I know they do. Well, Shackelford Banks. Does everybody know where Shackelford Banks is? It's an island that runs east and west. The eastern part touches Core Banks, where the lighthouse is, and then it goes all the way west, and it's just at the Beaufort Inlet, and it's on Bogue Banks is where Fort Macon's located. So that's the island we're talking about. And there used to be several communities, and the largest community on there was called Diamond City. And Diamond City, there was Mullet Pond and Bell's Island and Sam Windsor's Lump. Sound like something to be removed, but so it was a thriving community, and they whaled. It was the only place in on the East Coast except for Providence, Rhode Island, where they did shore whaling. And did you see on the news they had some whales come into the bite? And so that's, that was the whaling industry. And let me do a little aside here. When they caught a whale, they would name it. If it was caught in May, it was the Mayflower whale. And then there was the little children's whale, because the children had all the men were out fishing or something, and there was a whale, and so the little kids got in the boat and got the whale, and that's better than washing the car, I guess. But anyway, they named it the little children's whale. And then later on, in the 1920s, it started petering out a little bit, and there was one whale that they called "Hain't Been Named Yet." Just a little aside. But these communities on Shackelford, there was a series of terrible hurricanes. I mean, right back to back. And it culminated in the bad storm of 1899. And almost as a whole community, they decided they were going to have to go to higher ground. Some went to some went to Harkers Island, some went to Marshallburg, some went to Morehead City here in the Promised Land, and then some went to Salter Path on Bug Banks. They just moved over. They didn't move on the mainland, but they moved over. So these people share a kinship of heritage and tradition, And this song that I'm going to sing, this is the first time I've performed this ever, this song shows the tough spirit and resolve of the people and what they and what they share. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. If I get it on the wrong one, there you go. But it was written by Mark Fielding Garden from Salter Path. It's called "The Women of Salter Path," and I love this song because it is true to life. It's not sugar coated, and it tells you about them, and so I like to sing it for her. I have lived in a shack made of shipwrecks. I have warmed my home with driftwood. I have lived on the shore 100 years. I'm the women of Salter Path. I have lost a husband while a-preachin'. I have found a son in the Sound. I have lost my man to my very best friend. But I'll be there when they lay them down. Hallelujah, I've been through a hard and trying life. I've raised your sons and your daughters too. I'm the women of Salter Path. I have seen the families a-marrying. I have pulled our children from the womb. I have carried the mail and mended the sail. I'm the women of Salter Path. Hallelujah, I've been through a hard and trying life. I've raised your sons and your daughters too. I'm the women of Salter Path. When the life of this isle has left us, and the children have gone with the tide, when the legend dies, the legacy is gone. We will still be women of pride. Hallelujah, we've been through a hard and trying life. We've raised your sons and your daughters too. We're the women of Salter Path. There are times when we fight with each other. There are times when we love to hate. But this is our little town. Strangers better not be found having anything mean to say. Hallelujah, we've been through a hard and trying life. We've raised your sons and your daughters too. We're the women of Salter Path. We're the women of Salter Path. Isn't that a great song?
60s.
This is why we like tourism, because we need some more splashes in the gene pool. Okay?
Going back to Diamond City,
Yeah,
my neighbor 2 houses down has a house that came from Diamond City.
that's right.
Over here by Hope.
That's right. They took the houses apart. And because, lumber was, like they said, they use shipwreck parts and so they brought their boats over on their skiffs and set them up in the house. And in Promised Land, they had a sign committee, which they put signs on the houses that came over. And they've been altered a lot, but they're still there. And so I love that about the Promised Land. And I'll go sing more about that later. But right now, how many know where Merriman is? Good. Well, I was coming home from Harkers Island, and I was there. Mary, yes, I know you should have known that. And there's a stoplight right there and at the T where you could go west and go to Merriman, or you could go to Beaufort if you go east, okay? So I was there, and I had this harmonica sitting on the seat, and I saw the little DOT sign, that said Merriman 13, that way. I don't know why. I can't explain these things. But I picked up a harmonica, and I wrote a song about 13 miles to Merriman. So I wrote it, sang it, put it on a CD, spent some money on it. And so I was coming back from Harkers Island, and I thought I just glanced over there, and the sign that said Merriman 13 now says South River 10. So I think I insulted somebody or pissed off the DOT or something. I'm not really sure. But one of the proudest moments I had with songwriting was this song was being played by a local band, and friends of ours. And I was standing there listening with one of our neighbors, and he said to me, "That is a great song." And I said, "Thank you." And he said, "You wrote that?" He says, "I thought it was a traditional song." That's the best thing anybody could ever have said to me, was that. And so this is 13 miles to Merriman. Let's see, I think my harmonica's got plaque on it or something. I need to take my harmonica to the dentist. Okay, here we go. I hope I can do this. Let's see. I'm going to take this guitar off if you don't mind. At home, I practiced, with the guitar on, but sometimes it got in the way. I need all the help I can get. I said 13 miles to Merriman. I said 13 miles to the setting sun. Well, I could go east or I could go west, but I won't go just like the rest. Well, 13 miles to Merriman. I said 13 miles to the setting sun. Well, I go by boat, gas, sail, or steam. And when times get tough, I hitch a team. Well, South River's nice, it's got lots of spice. With a wild hoot and holler to Silver Dollar. Well, 13 miles to Merrimon. Well, 13 miles to the setting sun. Well, I got me a man with long dark hair, and he can dance like Fred Astaire. Well, he charcoals mullets on the grill, and he knows how to warm my winter chill. Well, 13 miles to Merrimon. Well, 13 miles to the setting sun. Well, all around be the open ground, and if you get lost, you not get found. Well, the songs of the frogs and the whippoorwills, and sometimes the hiss of a moonshine still. I said 13 miles to Merrimon. 13 miles to the setting sun. I said 13 miles to Merrimon. And then I'm gonna have some fun. There you go. Gonna have to take my harmonica to the dentist. Now that's something. You know what? As a songwriter, I hear things all the time. I said, "There's a song in that." Now, my friends back there know that I say that sometimes. I say, "There's a song in that," and I have pieces of paper. Now, being a songwriter is rewarding and frustrating all at the same time. I have pieces of paper with verses, laying all over my house and in my files, and I'm thinking, I'm going to get to that. I got to get to that. And 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. This song needs no introduction because I go to the Cape, and we were talking about who was it said Vicky was saying she had to take stuff out to the Cape to live, because there's nothing there, and you got to take everything that you need, and it wears you out. But we do that because we love it so much. And this is a song when life gets too tough and my mind is too drugged down, the Cape is the best prescription.
You got that right.
Out of my mind, out at the Cape, down by the sea, can't make no mistakes. Gone is the strife of everyday life. It's here that I'm truly at peace. Follow me there, out to the Cape, fish in the surf, lie on the beach, walk where the waves cool the hot sand. Come for the sun and the peace. Walk with me now, holding my hand. Watch the gulls soar, hear the sea roar, the breeze in our hair, the salt in the air. Come for the warmth and the peace. Down by the sea, can't make no mistakes. Gone is the strife of my everyday life. It's here that I'm truly at peace. Out at the Cape. Thank you. I've had this version of this song. I'm ashamed to tell you how long I've had this version, but Captain Jim Willis, who is a Promised Lander of renown, he was a fish house liar too. Now some of you folks might think that's a derogatory term, but it's a badge of honor here in Carter County. And Captain Jim loved history. He palled around with Sonny Williamson and Rodney Kemp and wrote the history of Atlantic Beach. He was the postmaster over there for some time. And so anyway, he wrote his version of I Am Bound for the Promised Land and gave it to me. Big mistake. But you know, and so I don't think anybody's heard this. So you all might be the first ones to hear this version of it. And I wanted to show you a couple of things. There's Captain Jim, and then somebody else from the Promised Land was Elida Willis. And Elida was my mentor, and she taught me things about, you know, over on the banks, you know, in the little houses they had, there were no closets. And so they put everything in baskets that they nailed to the wall, you know. And did you have a question? Oh, okay. Yeah, Jan. Oh, okay. And she gave me this. This is how they would light their homes. Would take the conch shell, put the whale oil in it, and put a rag in it as a wick. And this is how some people studied, you know, by lamplight. And this conch shell, it was very versatile. And we know from the Indians, they'd use it for a ladle to get the water out of the thing, and they would use it to they'd poke a hole in it and use it as a hoe to make some furrows, and because also you use it in combat, you wouldn't want to be seen that coming at you. But anyway, she taught me about that, and she also taught me about this. This is a Diamond City calendar. Now, this is a small version of the real one. This they would have used real corks. And you'll notice there's 7 on here, and this one's painted white. This is the Sabbath, because they didn't have calendars, and what they would do is hang us on the wall, and this would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just they would move it over. And when they got to the Sabbath, they knew they couldn't sew, they couldn't hoe, you know, because that was work, you know, and you weren't supposed to work on the Sabbath, you know. And my mother lived by that too, you know. Of course, I think it was a good thing. But anyway, so this was something that they had on their walls, you know, to keep them. And Miss Elida taught me that, and I'm forever in her debt. So this is the version that Captain Jim wrote. I changed one word. I don't want you to find it. And I want you to sing the chorus with me, okay? On Cape Lookout, storm-tossed banks, we stand and cast a wishful eye towards Moorhead's bright and blissful shore, where our true fortunes lie. Here's the chorus. I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. We are moving over to the mainland, leaving home far behind. We wish we didn't have to go and could stay here for all time. I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Oh, who will come and go with me? I am bound for the promised land. The last storm drove us off these banks, another we cannot stand. We are searching for a peaceful shore that will be our promised land. I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Oh, and go with me. I am bound for the promised land. I am bound for the promised land. Promised land. Very good. I'm taking y'all on tour with me. I need a sip of water. Greta is here on the front row, and Greta's been very involved with the community theater. Just 47 years. God.
And she was wonderful. We did a play called Smoke on the Mountain. She is not only a good singer, she is a great actress.
Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, well, I would love to. And that's what this song is about. This next one is my country western song. And Smoke on the Mountain, we ran 2 years. And if you haven't been to or been involved in a community theater, when you end the run of your play, you have a cast party. That's what we live for.
Yes, we do.
Is the cast party. Well, now, before the cast party, one night after rehearsal, now this is two wonderful people, Bob and Carolyn Meadows. Now, Bob was a wonderful person, smart as a whip, talented. He carved this for me. He was the director. He was the director of the play. Every Christmas, he would give a homemade Christmas card. And I have them for every year that he gave them. And they're so wonderful. I have some of them framed. And Carolyn got me involved with the Presbyterian choir. You know, before that, I was a backslid Baptist. And I loved the fact that the choir was in the back of the congregation, because I didn't want to be seated in the front, you know, like the Baptists were. But anyway, so, but one night after rehearsal, Bob was so intense thinking about the direction, you know, and Carolyn was the musical director, so she was heavily involved too. And so one night after rehearsal, he got into his car and left her. And she was in the parking lot running after him, saying, "Stop, stop, stop," you know. And so I wrote a song called The Parking Lot and sang it at the cast party. So here you go. Bob left her in the parking lot crying, "Baby, don't you ever leave me." Bob left her in the parking lot shouting like crude obscenities. He revved the van it through gravel and sand, headed out at the speed of light. With smoke in his eyes and a mountain in his heart, he disappeared into the night. Well, Bob left her in the parking lot crying, "Baby, don't you ever leave me." Bob left her in the parking lot shouting like crude obscenities. She chased the van in spiked heels made of gold, a waving and a pleading, "Please stop." Tina Turner would be proud of the moves that she made, a bugging out across that line. Well, Bob left her in the parking lot crying, baby, don't you ever leave me. Bob left her in the parking lot shouting, light crude obscenities. Bob left her in the parking lot crying. And then I took her home.
And she wasn't crying either.
No, and you have to realize that she was the choir director for a church. So these light crude obscenities, I don't know where she pulled them out, but anyway, they stayed married a long time. They loved each other a whole lot. A very, very long time. And so this is about special places and special people, and they were special, and they still are special to me. And one of the special places in my life is Portsmouth Island, Portsmouth Village. How many been to Portsmouth before? How many don't know what I'm talking about? Okay. Well, we're learning here. Portsmouth was established, it's across the inlet from Ocracoke, and it's on the northern part of Corbanks, okay? And it was established in the 1750s, 1759, I think. And it was a growing village, and until 1960s, when the school had to close, that kind of took the young families off the island, and they had to find schooling for their kids. And so it was a slow death for Portsmouth. And one of the last two natives of Portsmouth was Miss Addie Dixon and her niece, Marion Gray Babb. And they still had lifetime rights to their home, so they could come and visit anytime they wanted. And Marion, I was the oral historian for Cape Lookout National Seashore, and so it was my job to talk to the former residents of Portsmouth Village and get the information, and the stories and the history of Portsmouth. And that was a treat for me. But Marion, you have to understand, these people were kind of cliquish, but Marion is the one that opened the door for me. She said, Connie's okay. And she would go with me. She would tell me who to talk to. She would travel with me. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful time being with her. And her sidekick would be Miss Clara Salter Gaskins. Now, Miss Clara didn't say a whole lot, but she was the wind beneath the wings of Marion, because Marion would tell me stuff and look at Clara to make sure that she had it right, So when Marion got sick and she got cancer, she didn't want to see anybody, and I couldn't go see her. So I wrote this song called Marion's Song and subtitled On My Island Home. And these are little vignettes that, as I had done oral histories with her, I put it in this song. And I haven't played this song a lot lately, and so we'll see how I do. I'll get it in a minute. I step back upon the shore, back to times and folks before, islanders and mailboat days, clear the misty haze of my island home. On the church I hear a hymn, Addie plays the pump organ, Lionel opens with a prayer, Henry rings the bell. just glad to be alive on our island home. See, Miss Annie's at her post, filing mail and greeting folks. Whittlers wait her work to end, catching up among friends on my island home. Ocracoke, her sister town, across the bar, right on the sound, survives and thrives today, but that's not the fate of my island home. Portsmouth town will never die, and will seldom change. No roads or wells, small sandy lanes, cisterns caught the rain on my island home. I visit many sleeping friends, not so far from my peaceful kin. Candy pools and Christmas plays, remembered foreign days on my island home. June comes, it's time to go back to Beaufort afore it blows. I almost wish it would give me one more day on my island home, on my island home. Thank you. She didn't get to hear it in this world, but I've sung it enough that I think that she knows it by heart now, and that I love her. And all those other people that are in that song are special to me. And we started the Friends of Portsmouth Island, so we have a homecoming every even-numbered year. So if you really want to go, that's the time to go, because there's food. There's food, and the mosquitoes, they spray for the mosquitoes, so you're good. Yeah. Now, we have Mardi Gras. Where's Pam? Pam, come here. Show them your shirt. We have Mardi Gras in Gloucester.
18th.
The 18th of this month.
And Connie will be performing there as well.
Yeah, I won't be doing the same program, but I'll be there. I'll be doing some covers.
Same day and time as Folklorist.
Really?
That's right, it is.
But who was there first?
That's right.
Not over.
It was Gloucester. And it was started by Brian and Barbara Blake. And Brian and Barbara spearhead this event. And just last month, Brian was given the Order of the Longleaf Pine. We were so proud. He's been the fire chief in the community for years and years. He always helped with the hurricane relief, and they're always doing things for the community. And the man that I love, Brian Blake, said, Barbara deserves this too. And so, that just melted my heart. But anyway, they play. Their name of their band is Unknown Tongues, and but I don't think they are Pentecostal. But anyway, they play, and we dance and we eat and we sing. And if you want a good time, now see, on Friday night, now this happens on Saturday. On Friday night, people come and they chop onions and they chop andouille sausages and they cutting up and making stuff for the gumbo. The musicians are there with the instruments and there's little pockets of playing everywhere. It's a real community thing. So if you get a chance to come. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I wrote this song because I'm not a dancer, but it's Mardi Gras and Boston today. We'll have good times and a big old parade. Set crowded heads eat a toothpaste. Drown our sorrows in Dublin. Chardonnay. Neil Mail, what will I do if I can't find my dancing shoes? Neil Mail, what will I do if I can't find my dancing shoes? It's a Mardi Gras hullabaloo with dirty rice and dewey too. It's a Carolina barbecue washed down with jars of homemade brew. Neil, what will I do if I can't find my dancing shoes? Neil, what will I do if I can't find my dancing shoes? It's Mardi Gras in Gloucester today. We'll eat good, drink Beaujolais. Unknown tongues and their proteges will make this party go. Flambe, aha! Neil, what will I do if I can't find my dancing shoes? Neil, what will I do if I can't find my dancing shoes? That's right. That's right. Go, man, go. This is a song that nobody's heard before because I just finished it last month. She thought I was going to say last night. Well, I was practicing last night. I was talking to Rodney Kemp on the phone. You know, he's been ill, and I've been keeping up with him, and I love him and concerned. But he's gonna be back on top pretty soon. But he told me, he said, Connie, we need a song about the shacking for horses. And I said, I hate to tell you, Rodney, I've got one. I don't know, but I don't call them horses. I call them ponies because we've always called them ponies. And so it's see if I can remember how it goes now. Banker ponies trace back to Spain. Go, pony, go. They've known no whip or bridle rein. Go, pony, go. Survive shipwrecks and hurricanes. The right to life they have retained. Go, pony, go. Go, pony, go. A mare her foal close by her side. Go, pony, go. Seagulls cry its lullabies. Go, pony, go. An island boy awaits wide-eyed his chance to steal a free fast ride. Go, pony, go. go, pony, go. Proud atop the dunes and sea oats muzzle in the wind, as our ancestors before us live, pony, live, live, pony, live. Times have changed the lifestyles, thus go, pony, go. No more whaling or mullet huts, go, pony, go. The ponies ever need to stay. Our banker spirit remains that way, stay, pony, stay. Our banker spirit remains that way. You can see how new it is. Hopefully, I'm gonna get a new CD out before this year is out, and got CDs out on the table, $10. So pretty good because they're selling them in the bookstore for $16. So, but I don't. I mean, they've been so good to me here at the Courtside Museum. I love them, and I love the institution, and I'm so glad you're here to support them and show them the love, you know. This is another person that's so special to me, Nettie Willis Merle. She was born in 1911. Now, her parents were part of that exodus that came off of Shackelford. And the Willis side of her family were whalers, boat builders, and lifesavers. And her mother was a gifted storyteller and seamstress. And Nettie got her storytelling gift from her mother and the love of the sea from her father. She was inventive and creative and wise. She and her sisters would write plays and produce them on their porch. She could recite poetry, and at the drop of a hat, she might just go into a jig and sing a children's song. I mean, you know, she was different, and she was lovely. And she could draw and paint, too. And her voice was music written in the brogue of a true down Easter. And I was at her graveside in the year 2000 with her nephew, John. John and I went to school together. And he told me how at Christmas she would love to dance and then eat some conch stew. Nettie embodied the fun and creative and passionate spirit of the Promised Land. And I haven't played this in a long time, so forgive me but we'll try. I want to dance like Nettie Merle, feel the earth beneath me whirl, eat conch stew, then do the old soft shoe like Nettie Merle. Miss Nettie Merle. I want to paint like Nettie Merle to see the colors of her world. Drink your Ponty, the family recipe to Nettie Merle. Miss Nettie Merle. I want to talk like Nettie Merle. Melodic waves that rose and curled, a legacy of Outer Banks history. That's Nettie Merle. Miss Nettie Merle. Nettie Merle, daughter of the promised land, shaped by her life, surrounded by water and sand. Poor Sal was just a great tale to me, but Nettie made me want to believe. I wanna live like Nettie Merle, to be an 89-year-old girl, doing magic tricks, reciting playful limericks like Nettie Merle. Miss Nettie Merle. We miss Nettie Merle. I miss Nettie Merle. I'd like to sing this song. Now this, somebody,
I thought you were talking to him.
some, that's okay. So, somebody,
I realized everybody was sitting down, and all of a sudden I said, wow, it's quiet in here. Uh-oh.
somebody had commissioned me to write this song about him. Now he was alive at the time. No, he was deceased already. But they were having a special exhibit of his at the North Carolina Maritime Museum, and this woman who wants to remain nameless, but she's so wonderful, and she asked me to write this song, and so it does tell about his life, and it also the tune is a whaling sea shanty, so it's very appropriate for him. He's a model man with calloused hands and a twinkle in his eye. He's a heart of gold, and if all be told, has a gift to rhapsodize. He can play the guitar like ringing a bell, build a trawler or caravel. He's an artisan and a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. Rolling down to Old Course Sound, me boys, rolling down to Old Course Sound. He's an artisan and a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. He's a model man who needs no plans to build a full-size boat. He's an orator and a crafter of words who folks most often quote. His native sung by speech and song, and his counsels wise and strong. He's an artisan and a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. Rolling down to Old Course Sound, me boys, rolling down to Old Course Sound. He's an artisan, a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. He's a darn good dad to his lass and lads, with a kind and gentle wife. He's worked real hard in the old boat yards and led a remarkable life. He's an islander who can cook fish stew and serve it to his crew. He's an artisan, a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. He's done us proud by the sweat of his brow, and he's won so many awards. He made old boats that held net floats with love in every board. In Washington they held him up, a man of high regard. He's an artisan, a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. rolling down to Old Course Sound, me boys rolling down to Old Course Sound. He's an artisan, a gentleman. He's James Rose, our Renaissance man. This song is, if James was my surrogate daddy, this was my surrogate granddaddy. This was Mr. Claude Scott from Crab Point. Now, I didn't know him, and he lived just down the road from me, but he had Scott's Garage. Does anybody remember Scott's Garage? That was his garage, and he was a fiddle player. He was from Terrell County, and his wife was Irene, and they were wonderful people, and they became part of the group that played on the waterfront with me, and we would meet at their house, and I'll tell you, we would be in the kitchen, and she would be cooking, and we would be drinking coffee, and he would play the fiddle, and I had the banjo at the time, and some other people would come in, and it was just like a Norman Rockwell painting. So I'm serious, and I can't believe that I had the pleasure and privilege of being part of that experience. You know, that was wonderful. And one of the songs that he was well known for was a tune called The United States, and he played it at square dances. You know, he played a lot of square dances. And you know, this old man, now he was in his late 80s when I knew him, and so he would play hours one song because people were dancing, and the dancers didn't care which song, they just wanted to play. And so so this song called The United States, nobody knows where it came from, but I put words to it, you know, to honor him, and I'm scatting a little bit to sound like the fiddle part that he played. It's going to be harmonica as soon as I can get it. But anyway, it goes la dee dee da 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 da. Oh, United States. Now, I said the United States was a boat. Okay, so here we go. See her coming down the Sound, blow, 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 and her whistle. People flock from miles around for oh, United States. She brings mail and store-bought sweet cakes, freight, paint, pickles in barrels, cotton prints, songs of Dixie, oh, United States. La-dee-la-da, la-dee-dee-dee-da-da-da-da, la-dee-da-dee, la-da-da-da-da-da. Down one way and up the middle, swing right and change your partner. Here Claude Scott raised Cane on fiddle, oh, United States. Sugar sweet and plums all sour, Claude, he's stronger than ever, plays well past the midnight hour, oh, United States. La-dee-da-da-da-da-da-dee-da-ba-ba-ba-da, la-dee-da-dee, la-da-da-dee-da-da-da. In the kitchen, Irene's cooking clams, crabs, country fried chicken, food enough for Carteret County, oh, United States. Coffee's black and rosin's flowing, feet tapping, voices all laughing, play until the cock is crowing, oh, United States. La-dee-da-da-da-da-dee-da-ba-ba-ba-ba, la-dee-la-da-da-da-da, oh, United States. Okay, this is the national anthem for Harkers Island. And I think everybody knows the story of the booze yacht, except
I was going to say that. You had to say that.
except maybe the two ladies from Pennsylvania behind you. Is everybody else?
I don't know it.
You don't know it either? Okay, well, just hang with me here. In 1922, the federal government decided that alcohol needed to be delved out as medicine. And you just couldn't, you know. And so, not realizing how many people were sick in Carteret County, you know, we had some people who needed the medicine. And This song depicts a rum runner that was coming up from the islands, and the boat was named Adventure, and it was loaded down with this illegal the medicine. It came. This is King Lock stopper bottles. Okay, this is the King Lock and the stopper, and these pads of hay were put in these burlap sacks, and the burlap sacks were over the bottles. Okay. And hundreds of them were in the bottom of this ship, and it was coming up, and it was going around Cape Lookout, and she was going real slow. Yeah, well, not yet. She was going real slow, and the Coast Guard at Fort Macon saw them, and they said, she's going real slow around Cape Lookout. Maybe she needs help. So they, and remember, this was before World War II, so no boats had radios then, and so they saw that the Coast Guard was coming. They said, "Oh my God, we got to get out of here," and so they speeded up. And when they speeded up, they got stuck on the shoal. And so they said, "My God, boys, what are we going to do? We're going to get caught and go to jail and this, that, and the other." So they started throwing these bags of illegal liquor overboard, opposite side of the. And they floated just underneath the surface of the water. So they never saw them. But it raised the boat up enough so it got off the shoal and it got away. And the Coast Guard never saw, what was happening. And so the next day, our fishermen went to set their nets on the banks. Now you have to remember that these are God-fearing, law-abiding, hard-working, thirsty fishermen. And when they pulled in their nets that day, the most beautiful brown burlap fish you'd ever seen in your life. And there was a big party for 2 weeks in Carteret County. And them that had not sold to them, had sold to them who had not. And a lot of personal fortunes were made because the booze yacht, booze as in liquor and yacht as in big boat, had come ashore. And so it changed the community. Now, Mr. Ivy Scott was a fiddle player, and there was a school teacher at the Harkers Island school, and both of them share credit for writing this song. So I'm not going to say which one did it, but because I don't want to get in trouble with anybody. But Ivy made it popular because he was a fisherman and he was a fiddle player, and Ivy Scott was a great fiddle player. Jean Ritchie, the folklorist who played up in New York, she made a recording. She came to Harkers Island. Jean Ritchie came to Harkers Island and recorded him playing the booze yacht and other songs. And he could play one an alto and sing a soprano part at the same time. He was amazing. And he would play for hours and hours. And he was very popular at square dances. And so they set these words to the sidewalks of New York. So what is the national anthem of Harkers Island being set to the sidewalks of New York? Well, because Al Smith was running for president at the time. And that was his presidential campaign song because he was against prohibition. And that's why that is the tune of Booze Yacht. So, this song is sung at Oyster Rose, and David Yeomans, God bless him, he would sing the heart out of this song. And you have to know that the Beehive was a store on Harkers Island. Around her was a drunk, and when I learned this song, it was from Graydon Paul, who was very religious. And so instead of when King Lockstopper stood ass high, he changed it to ace. So that's the way we sing it. So he didn't want to say ass. So because it is the national anthem, let's all stand up.
It feels good to stand up anyway.
Yeah. These chairs are not very conducive to to sitting a long time, and I apologize, but thank you for putting up with it. But and if you feel like swaying, you can. You know, just try to be in the same direction at the same time, or I might need a Dramamine. Okay. Down around the beehive, Harkers Island retreat. Every night and morning, the fishermen would meet. One day there came a rounder, come brushing by the door, saying, "Boys, let's go to Cape Lookout. There's a boojat run ashore. This way, that way, to the Cape they run. The coming of the adventure put the fishing on the bum. Some folks, they lost religion and backslid by the score. When King Lock stoppers, they stood ace high when the boojat run ashore." Thank you very much for coming. And what a terrible way to get a standing ovation, right? But thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming, everybody.